Hello, Ray Phoenix here. Welcome to Let's Play Spyro the Dragon Part 2. So this time around, we're going to get another iconic level from this game. And I know a lot of people, it's one of the most familiar levels of this game, Stone Hill. This level is exactly what it is. It's a stone and it's a hill. It's by far the easiest level in this game. It's set in a wide open, grassy field where stone sculptures are everywhere. It almost looks like Ireland some more. This game does look a lot like Ireland, but we know it's not Ireland. It's the Dragon World. There's nowhere to hide in this level. It's a big, wide open field where enemies could come at you from any direction. And Spyro just runs around and smashes stuff. There isn't really much to this level. This level is located closest to where we were first put into the game when we first started new games. A lot of people probably consider this level to be the first level of this game. And that's technically not. This game technically has non-linear gameplay, as you've noticed before. You can play the levels in any order, but most people seem to play this one first, which is why they consider this to be the first level of the game.
Watch the dragonfly, Spyro. His color indicates his power. When he eats butterflies, he stays strong. Like me.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we already know that, but this game is non-linear gameplay, so I want you to know that as early as possible, how sparks works and how health works in this game. That's probably why I tell you some of the same things again. The MT will tell you stuff about gliding and stuff like that too. And look, there's sheep. That's the first time I see sheep in this game, I think, where a sheep that Spyro likes to roast. Because Spyro, it's not like Spyro eats the sheep, it sparks and eats the butterflies in them, and it's what gives Spyro his health. There's these things you can run into. There's those guys with the sticks that like to beat up Spyro. And then there's those ramming things. I think those are rams or something like that. I don't know. I'm not an expert for those things. There's hits. So you guys run around through the hills. There isn't really much to, it's really hard, as I said before, it's really hard to hide in this level. So pretty much any gem you find in this level is easy to collect. And Spyro has an ability in this game that doesn't have any of the sequels. He can roll over, press R1 or L1, he kind of strafe, roll over. It's a very useless thing. I rarely ever use it at all. I'm familiar with the sequel, so I forget it exists a lot of the time.
Spyro, my friend, how about a hint on gliding?
You bet.
For the longest glide, press the X button at the top of a jump, and try pressing the triangle button to drop down in mid-flight.
That's telling us more stuff we already know, or at least I know, because I'm an expert with Spyro. To collect more gems, there's always gems to collect, and we an all the way over here where the bulk of the gems are. It's really easy for gems to hide in this specific part of the level too. You could spend like over an hour, several hours just scanning this, combing this large, wide open grassy field. There's a few trees here and there. There's a forest field back there too, just so you can find those last blasted gems. I remember seeing a lot of YouTube comments from people saying, "Oh, I have to play this game for hours on end, this level specifically, just so I can find that one bloody gem that prevents me from getting this game 100% complete." We just stopped a thief there, and we got an egg. It's the first time we got an egg in this game, a dragon egg. Apparently Nasty Nork wants something to do with dragon eggs. I wonder if that's foreshadowing, because one of the sequels has it where Spyro has to collect all the eggs, and the eggs have dragon eggs, because someone wants to make dragonkind extinct. Wonder if that was Nasty Nork's plan. Maybe that's part of Nasty Nork's plan. We know Nasty Nork obviously hates dragons. We don't really know much about Nasty Nork's backstory or why he does what he does in this game, but all we do know is that he has something against dragons. He really seems to hate dragons for some reason. Why else would he do any of this stuff? So he clearly, has a thing against dragons. I don't think there's anything in trees. Some other games might have it where you hit a tree and then something falls out. I don't think there's anything hiding in the trees. So it's gonna run around these hills, these hill barriers. There's a few trees here and there, and collect whatever gems we find. There's gonna be still quite a few gems here. Sometimes you could even fall off or roll off. There. I think there's also some hidden rooms here. This isn't really hidden exactly, but go right here. We could get some gems in here. There's gems hiding in here, and there's a 1-up. Those little container things always have those silver Spyros you collect into your 1-up. They already have 7 lives, or already gained 3 lives since this Let's Play began.
After you freed all the dragons, pass through this fancy vortex thingamajigger. It'll take you back to the artisan home. But first, let me tell you a story.
No thanks. See ya.
Yeah, they always like to stop and tell stories for a long time. But Spyro doesn't like stories. He's in a story right now. This is Spyro's story, his own story. I remember there was one commercial from a long time. I think it was a commercial maybe where someone said, "Oh, it's like telling this game like it's an awesome story, like a story, like a bedtime story kind of thing about Spyro fighting against Nasty Nork." I think some other dragon later in this game is going to mention something like that too, like, "Oh, this is an awesome story, the greatest story ever told, Spyro fighting Nasty Nork." We know all the great heroes, video game heroes have their first games, right? Where it's just a simplistic story about them going against some kind of villain and winning pretty much all first video games and long-running video game series have that. Guys, like their first game. The first game's usually always some kind of story like that. So you open up this chest and got more gems, more shiny colored gems. The different colors of the gems indicate how much they're worth. So what do we got here? We have almost all the gems in this level. There's still some stuff left to collect in this level. I'm going to be pausing the game a lot of time to look at Spyro's cellular phone, where he's going to see what's left. I imagine Spyro's like a little cell phone that tells him everything that's got all his progress level, kind of like what Mario had in Super Mario 64, but I don't really know that's what it was a phone, because I remember Sir Ron Lionheart used to say that a lot. Let's go look at Super Mario 64's cellular phone. And go in here. The voice acting in this game is also really well done. The PS1 was really good at voice acting because they used optical discs to store the games. The music is really good. This game has a much better soundtrack than Mario 64. Mario 64 had an excuse for having a subpar compared to this soundtrack. As Mario 64 is an N64 game that used cartridges, and this is PlayStation, uses CDs. Stuart Copeland, I watched a documentary where Stuart Copeland was talking about how he made the music to this game. He said that when you make music for a CD-based game, or like when you make music for like a game on CD, you don't really have to worry about running out of time or running out of. You don't really have to worry about running out of time or running out of or taking up too much space on the disc or too much storage space of cartridges. You could easily take up a lot of too much space.
When you free a dragon or step on one of their platforms, you're saving your progress. That could be useful if you run into trouble. Not that you ever run into trouble, Spyro.
Yeah, so his platforms the dragons on are pretty much checkpoints, in other words. So if we get killed, we're going to start there instead of at the beginning of the level. Ain't that grand? I think we have all the dragons this level now. I think there's just like one more bloody blasted gem. It's probably hiding in those hills up there somewhere. We're just gonna go in a large truck. We're gonna comb through those hills up there and try to find that one last miserable little gem. It's probably a red gem too, just to mock us. This game likes to mock you a lot of the time. The red gems are worth the least amount of gems. There's just one little gem, one measly little gem that's stopping you from getting this entire level, and possibly the entire game 100% complete. So one little red gem. Just have to, oh, there, I think I see it up there. Yeah, there it is. It's already in a container there. Oh, it's a green gem too. Yeah, so I guess it's worth twice as much. And I think we got all the gems, and yep, that's everything this level complete. Now we also have this whole game 8% complete as well too. So we're making decent enough progress in this game. So now we can leave this level. Now we go into the return home. You can also just pause and exit the level. I don't know if that makes a difference at all, but I don't like doing that in case of losing progress. I'll just go the way you're supposed to go, which is return home. Just go to the portal. It reads returning home. So now we're back at the main homeworld. I remember the title screen music. When I was a kid, the title screen music was my favorite music in this game. And they actually used the title screen music for the music for this level, the main homeworld, the first homeworld, in the demo that I played. So I first learned about Spyro from the first demo, of course. Well, I actually knew about Spyro before. Spyro 2 was the first Spyro game I ever played. I had a demo for that game way back in the day. I played it a lot, and eventually I got the full game of it and played it. I played the crap out of that game long before I came across the original Spyro, long before I had any knowledge of this original Spyro game.
Hey, Spyro, press the jump button twice to glide. And don't be afraid.
Afraid? Of what?
Falling from high mountain peaks? Plummeting into prehistoric glaciers?
Yeah, constantly telling us stuff we already know again. Just like Ubuntu Linux, how Ubuntu constantly tells you stuff you already know. I remember 2 years ago I tried installing Ubuntu Linux on the Raspberry Pi. It was the worst thing I ever installed on the Raspberry Pi. It constantly stops every 2 seconds. 2 seconds can't go by without telling you stuff you already know. And it's slow as hell to the point where LibreOffice doesn't even work on it very well. And LibreOffice is like a freeware Microsoft Office software that LibreOffice is pretty good. It's not really that great on the Raspberry Pi because it doesn't have like any kind of spell correction. It says it works, but in reality, it doesn't. It's no different than WordPad then, which I heard Microsoft is getting rid of WordPad, so it's not going to be on future versions of Windows. So I was watching a video about that the other day about Windows 95 software that still exists on modern versions of Windows, like the phone dialer. Yeah, I remember the phone dialer. A lot of people don't even know if they don't even realize that's still a thing.
Welcome to Town Square, Spyro. Begin exploring by gliding to that area with the bulls. Use the L2 and R2 buttons to get a good look.
And there's also the character editor, and there's some other things. There's WordPad was pointed out too, because WordPad's been around since like Windows 95, and it replaced Write, which was used on Windows 1.0 to Windows 3.1. Windows 3.1 was the first version of Windows I ever used, and I used it on a laptop my father built. It was originally 2 laptops. My father fixed but to combine parts from both of them, actually built one working laptop. That's why I got to play QBasic Gorilla for the first time, which I often consider QBasic Gorilla to be the first PC game I ever played.
Thanks, Spyro. I had the worst itch on the tip of my wing. Oh, did you know that you get your longest glides by pressing X at the very...
We already know about this, so shut up, dragon. That's it. I'm not going to listen to these dragons anymore. All these dragons have to say is just a bunch of stuff, bunch of bull crap we already know. Yeah, we're not stupid. We already know all this stuff. You have to tell us stuff we already know. It's really annoying when they constantly tell you stuff over and over again. Stuff you already know. That's not exactly. That's actually worse than how it was in the original Ape Escape, where the game forces you to do the training levels. I mean, training levels are okay. It's a great way to learn how the gadgets work, and they're not very long. But I still think it's kind of tedious that it makes you do all the training levels, because training levels are optional in the Ape Escape sequels. They don't force you to do the training levels over and over again, or they don't force you to do them again if you already. I already know how to do. I'm an expert on Ape Escape as well too, so I already know how to play all the training levels and stuff like that. And this guy's probably going to talk about more crazy nonsense I don't really give a crap about.
He's a thief, and he's stolen...
Yeah, we already know. We already know what the thieves are. You can shut up. We already figured that out. It's really easy to figure out this game. This game actually isn't that hard to figure out on your own. I never read instruction books for video games. I mean, I do sometimes just for fun, after I've owned the game for some time, but when I first get a game, I pretty much never. I don't think anyone ever reads instruction books. That's probably why a lot of modern games don't even come with instruction books at all anymore, because they just figure, people will figure out the game themselves, or if not, they'll just go online and figure out how to play a game, just like what everyone does these days. They don't know something, they just consult the internet. People used to collect books because they were filled with information, but now everyone just gets everything off the internet because it's such a quick and easy way to learn about how to do something. I told them I've done that a lot with this game too. I figured out how to get a lot of these games 100% complete thanks to the internet. I'm from that generation where I never needed to buy a guidebook once in my life. I just went on the internet. It's a struggle that modern kids and future generations of kids are never going to know about. And again, these kinds of games are the kinds of things modern kids may never know about too. Are modern kids even interested in games like these? Maybe they are. Actually, come to think of it, they really may be interested in games like these, considering the fact that a lot of modern games these days aren't that good, or they're very bland. Rescued 4, yeah, I remember 4. He was in that movie I saw a few days ago, The Avengers. I rewatched that movie a few days ago. It was the first time in nearly a decade I saw that movie, the Avengers movie from 2012. It was the biggest movie of the year when I remember when it came out. Everyone made a big deal about it, and I finally saw it later in that year. I got it on DVD, and I thought it was a pretty decent movie. But a lot of people say it's dated now compared to what the Marvel Cinematic Universe became in the years afterwards, which I kind of agree with that. It's not one of my absolute favorite superhero movies ever, but it was a pretty decent movie. It was a nice nostalgic throwback to 2012. I think 2012 was one of the greatest years ever. It was the last year of the Dragon before this current year of 2024. And I remember that's when I got Spyro 3, and I still played the first 2 Spyros a lot in that year too. I guess that's what I did back then to honor the Year of the Dragon, and now I'm honoring this Year of the Dragon by let's playing all 3 of these Spyro games, the entire Spyro trilogy. Is another this thief that's running around here with the egg. These thieves are quite elaborate, actually, quite tricky. They're actually a simple way to get them. You just have to charge up to them and don't actually touch them. Don't actually hit them with your horns. Once you get close to them, you can use your flame breath and then it will hit him and then it will kill him pretty much. You can also do that tactic with large enemies sometimes too. It doesn't tell you that in this game, but for large enemies that you can't ram into, you can just run really close to them. And once you get very close, the split second before you actually make contact with them, you can press the circle button and it'll flame them and they'll be dead. And then, it's a quick and easy way to kill large enemies. We actually taught that tactic in Spyro 3, and I checked. It works in Spyros 1 and 2 as well, too. The game just didn't bother to tell you that. Instead, the game rather wastes its time telling you a bunch of useless crap we already know about, like how to glide, and how to move the camera around, and how to collect gems, and how to press up, press down, and rotate the camera and all that kind of crap. This is Ray Phoenix signing out.